Andrew. Andrew, Persuasive speaking, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Persuasion. It's the process of creating, reinforcing, or changing people's beliefs or actions. Something that we do every day. Every day we're bombarded with persuasive messages. You even see them wrapped around the bus, right? When it's riding through. Always a lot of persuasive messages coming our way, trying to either create, reinforce, or change our beliefs or actions. Now, basically, what we want to do is achieve a degree of persuasion because you're not going to be able to persuade all of the people all of the time. So you need to look at it on a spectrum. Okay? Any movement towards the right is considered a win. Target audience. Okay. This is when you identify the audience members that you most want to persuade and you may be receptive to your message. So you basically are having a mental dialogue with yourself. Okay. It's a give and take between the listener and the speaker's ideas. Now, the traditional views of persuasion are logos, ethos, and pathos. Okay. Let me. Okay. Logos is using logic, structure, or evidence. Ethos is when the audience has a perception of trustworthiness and that your credentials are valid. And pathos is what we use for emotional appeals. Now, those emotional appeals are something that we see often as well, especially on television. Those are those commercials where you see the animals or the children starving. You see animals starving or being abused. They play that certain music that is designed to tug at your emotions. Okay, get to you so that you'll reach in your pocket and give money. Okay, emotional appeal. We have to be very careful when we are using the pathos view of persuasion. Now, persuasive speeches are three varying types. You have your question of fact, which is when you attempt to establish the truth of a statement. And that's the one that I told you looks a whole lot like an informative speech, but it is indeed persuasive because it takes a partisan view. The Second type of speech is a speech on question of value. Right? This is where you attempt to show an idea or action that is better or more ethical, correct than the other. And then finally, you have these persuasive speeches on question of policy. This is when you attempt to show whether a course of action should or should not be done. And remember, I was telling everyone in your previous speeches, when you start saying should, you should, it's a classic indicator that you are using the question of policy in your persuasive attempts. Question of fact. Now, some questions of fact can be answered with certainty. For example, how far is it from New York to Dubai? Other questions cannot be answered with certainty. For example, what will the economy be next year? Better or worse? All right. These speeches differ from informative speeches because, again, informative speeches have impartiality. Okay, we don't argue for a particular point of view. You can't get on the other side of the presentation, the topic. What are they discussing? You can't get on the other side of it. If I told you 4 treatments for cancer, okay, that would be an informative speech. But if I said, these are the best 4 treatments for cancer, now I'm moving from an informative speech of just giving you the facts to adding in a partial view that I think this is best. It's better. Okay, that's how you can distinguish between the two. Again, the persuasive speech on question of fact takes that partisan view and it tries to persuade the audience to accept the speaker's view about the information as opposed to just sticking to the facts of the matter. Okay, so a specific purpose for a speech based on question of fact might be to persuade my audience of 3 reasons to believe that an earthquake of 9.0 or above on the Richter scale will hit California in the next 10 years. They just had an earthquake not long ago. I think it was 5. Central idea for a specific purpose like that on question of fact might be an earthquake of 9.0 or above on the Richter scale will hit California in the next 10 years based on historical timelines, trends, and evidence of severe climate change in the region. Okay, so now given that central idea, what would you say were the 3 main points?
The historical timelines, trends, and evidence of severe climate change.
Yes, thank you, Braylon. That's correct. Okay, and here you see the 3 main points. All right, question of value. The speaker needs to show an idea or action is better than others. So these are instances of right or wrong, good or bad, moral or immoral. For questions of value, the speaker needs to justify their value judgment in light of a clearly defined set of standards. Okay, so the first step is to define your standards for your value judgment. And then the second step would be to judge the subject of the speech against those standards that you've set. A specific purpose for a speech on question of value might be to persuade the audience of two ways the FCC's localism policies can strengthen American communities. Central idea for that specific purpose on question of value might be two ways the FCC's localism policies will benefit American communities are, it's missing here, by increasing diversity of voices and enhancing local content. And then finally, on question of policy, where you have to show whether a course of action should or should not be done. Okay. And most persuasive speeches deal with questions of policy. They inevitably involve question of fact. They may involve questions of value, but they always go beyond question of fact and question of value to decide whether something should or should not be done. Now, there's two types of speeches on question of policy. One that seeks to gain passive agreement, okay, that the policy is desirable, necessary, and practical. It affects the thinking rather than giving direct action to the audience. All right. And then the second type of speech on question of policy is one that seeks to motivate the audience to take immediate action. Okay. It gets the audience to do something. You give recommendations for actions. When you give recommendations for actions, you must be as specific as possible and tell them exactly what to do. Okay, that's very important. And you want to make sure when you are giving these, well, let me get to this other part first before I talk about that. Hold on. Let me just give you a couple of examples on what passive agreement is for question of policy. Okay. That's when you are convincing the audience that the policy is desirable. You're avoiding encouraging actions to support the policies. You're not telling them what to do at all. It's implied. Specific purpose might be to persuade my audience that seatbelts should be standard issue on school buses. Okay, the other type of question of policy persuasive speech would be when you're trying to give immediate action, when you're trying to convince the audience to act in support of some policy. Specific purpose might be to persuade my audience to contact their congressional leaders to demand action on climate change through phone call, campaigns, and petition drives. Very clear, right? What you want them to do. Now, these policy issues, as we say, that I was going to come back to, must be addressed with the need. Okay, that is, what's the problem? What is the problem that's requiring change from whatever the current policy is to the new policy that you are presenting to them? You also need to have in these types of policy speeches a plan. What's your plan to solve the problem with the current policy? And then practicality. Will the plan solve the problem or will the plan create new problems? You have to be able to explain these 3 points when you are delivering one of these policy issue persuasive speeches. Now, the need doesn't always, you don't have to always spend as much time on the need if the need is already if your audience is already on board with you. For example, if you're giving a speech to your classmates about the Mercer County Community College should not increase their tuition this year because whatever the reasons. Okay. Do you think that you need to spend a whole lot of time on the need with that type of specific purpose? Since you're right there. Do you think you need to, do you think the audience of college students have already bought into the need? Yeah, for sure. Okay. Because you don't want to pay more money for tuition, do you? Right. Now, if you were giving that same speech to the board, do you think you got to spend a little bit more time on that need? Oh, yeah. Because now you are definitely trying to persuade a target audience that may not be on the same page with you. So that's what we mean by the need really depends on your target audience. How much time you spend on it depends on your target audience. Now, the plan. Okay, presenting your plan. What's your plan to solve the problem with the current policy? Okay, what is your plan? And when you are given that plan, you need to make sure that that plan is very detailed of what you want them to do. Okay. Give the specific steps of what needs to be done in that plan. And then when you're doing your practicality, of course, will the plan solve the problem or will the plan create new problems? Okay, so make certain that you know the 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 practicality of your plan. So you're either going to tell them all of the new problems that are existing, or what will you do to solve those problems? So, for instance, if you were given a speech on we need a new Walmart we don't want a new Walmart in our area. Okay, and you're giving that speech to at a town hall meeting. So you've got a mixed target audience, but you got a mixed audience. You really have to balance how you're giving that speech, right? So if you were giving a speech like that, you might, in the plan, talk about, oh, there's a whole lot of new problems for us if we have this new Walmart. Traffic and congestion. We may have more people coming into our community than we really want in our community, and some of the people might not be the people who we think should be in that community. Maybe they think, oh, we're getting a lot of people here. You're getting a lot of retail there. You may be getting people coming in who may be stealing things. Okay. So you in a speech like that, you'd be showing all of the reasons why, in that practicality, why it's going to cause more problems if we create I mean, if we build a new Walmart here, it's going to be problems for the residents. We don't want it. But make sure you have an idea of what you're going to talk about in that practicality. Is it going to, does the plan solve the problem, or does the plan create new problems? Okay, organizational methods and policy speech. You have the problem solution order. You have the problem call solution, comparative advantages, and Monroe's motivated sequence. So I'm going to move straight. Well, of course, problem solve solution is first main point will be the problem. Second main point will be the solution. Problem call solution, very similar. Three main points, problems, main point one, main point two be the cause, and the solution uh, would be for the third main point. Yes. Comparative advantages, where each main point explains why one solution is preferable to another. So, a specific purpose for comparative advantages might be to persuade my audience that automakers should put greater emphasis on developing hydrogen fuel cars than gas electric cars. The central idea might be hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are a better alternative than gas hybrid cars because they don't use gasoline and their emissions are eco-friendly. Okay. Some of you were giving this speech when you were given a speech within this order when you were trying to um, do your informative speech. So now you can see, oh, okay, yeah, what I was doing, yeah, that was comparative advantage. I was trying to say this is better than that. And that was the way I was trying to do it, comparing two things. Unlike hybrid car, main point number one might be unlike hybrid cars, hydrogen cars run entirely without gasoline. And then main point number two would be unlike hybrid cars, hydrogen cars do not emit any air polluting exhaust. And then we have the Monroe's motivated sequence, which we're going to focus on today in your speeches. So in Monroe's motivated sequence, there is attention, need, satisfaction, visualization, and then the action. So, of course, attention, that's where you're going to gain the audience's attention, and then present the need, show the need for change, okay? Or need for no change. Remember, you can argue either way. Satisfaction, now you're going to provide a solution. Visualization, enhance the solution by visualizing the benefits. And then finally, action for solution. And this is another type, AIDA copywriting formula, where you see it's only 4 things you need to do there. But today, we're focusing on Monroe's motivated sequence. Okay, so I'm going to put you in groups, and we're going to develop a persuasive speech as a group. So again, like we did last week, and again, I apologize, but when I converted your um video, it cut off the last part of it. I didn't let it go all the way to the end. So it didn't take that portion. You take the whole class, but not your speeches. And I do apologize for that. So we're going to give them again after we do the persuasives so that you'll be able to look at it and you probably do a way better job this week than you did last week. So I'll put you back in your same groups for that. But right now we're going to work on a persuasive speech. So this speech, you're going to have at least two main points, right? Plus an introduction and a conclusion. And it lasts 1 to 2 minutes. So you're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. So it's a little similar to our visual aid speech, right? Where we had to explain something. Now we're actually selling it. Okay. Persuasion, a little bit different in the approach. Before you just were explaining it. And I did tell some of you, okay, you're moving into persuasive line because now you're selling it. You're only supposed to explain what it's not try to convince us that it's great. Okay? That's the difference. All right. So if you're gonna have to describe an item. And that item, you're going to advertise it. Okay? Why is it great? Now, you guys did a great job last week doing this in the mini informative, but that's not what you're supposed to do, right? So now we're going to actually do that. And then hopefully when we go back to the informative, we'll take out that persuasive part that we put in there, right? And then you'll be able to just do informative as it's supposed to be done. Okay. I'm gonna put you in the groups. Let me see how many people I have today. Those 3 groups. And I'm gonna give you about um 10 minutes. You don't need any research. Okay, 10 minutes I'm gonna give you to prepare, bring you back. 1 to 2 minutes is the time limit for the speech. Okay, so let's have one person do your introduction. Well, I'm not going to limit your main points. Let's go back and create 4 groups. What does it say?
Yeah, I have a question. Are we going to do breakout rooms again? Breakout rooms again?
Yes. Okay. All right. So group 1 is Devin, Jasmine, and Samantha.
Can you guys hear me okay? Sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay. We're good to start?
Yes.
All right. Imagine a world where your notes come to life, where studying becomes more engaging, and where organization meets creativity. The secret? A simple yet powerful tool, the six-colored pen. This isn't just a writing instrument, it's a game changer for students, professionals, and anyone who wants to bring clarity and excitement to their work.
Today, we'll be describing how this pen outperforms in terms of design and convenience. First, let's talk about the design of this pen. In terms of structure, this is one of the most durable pens I've ever used. It's made of polycarbonate and, unlike your typical cylindrical pen, is easy to grip because it's hexagonal and has edges. Now let's talk about the different colors you can write with this. There are 6 colors of ink in this one pen. Why carry around a bulky pencil case when you can just use one pen with black, navy blue, light blue, orange, pink, and red in just one easy-to-carry tool?
Overall, the sturdy, compact pen is more than just a writing tool. It's a way to be able to reflect your emotion and meet all your needs. With its robust build and vibrant color choices, it adapts seamlessly to any situation. Choosing this pen will let your personality shine through with every stroke.
Okay. That's it. We had 3 speakers, okay. 2, 17. Okay. You did it in 1 minute. That's great. All right. Now, next, group 2, Andrew, Casey, and Satchel.
Good to start.
Yes.
In the world we live today, where it is important to stay connected to everybody, there is one thing that we all need in our repertoire to keep that up, and that is the cell phone. The cell phone helps us stay connected to social media, texting, calling, and it's all available on the go mobile. Not only does it have that, it has other features that you can use to keep you entertained and keep you busy. The cell phone is important in everybody's personnel to have on them at all points of time.
Some examples of what you can use with your cell phone is call feature. You can call anybody you want at any time. Say you're running late from work, you can easily email somebody on the go. You also have entertainment. With that, you can download HBO Max, watch whatever shows you would like, play games like Clash Royale, or even get the latest stock market updates. You can do anything you want on the cell phone. That's why it's important to have.
In conclusion, everyone should have a phone to be able to communicate efficiently. In today's society, many people use their phone for social media, texting, calls, GPS, entertainment, class assignments, and more. If you don't have a phone, then you won't be able to do simple things that every other human can do. Mobile devices are very important to have in today's society, as you may be looked down upon if you don't have one. So go to your local cell phone supplier store and pick one up for a better and easier life.
So 1 minute. You guys are good at this persuasion thing. Doing it all semester. Okay. Group 3.
Imagine willingly damaging your wallet, lungs, and brain, all from a habit marketed as safe. Vaping might seem cool, convenient, or less harmful than smoking, but the truth is, it's far from harmless. Today, I want to shed light on why vaping isn't harmless as it seems, and why choosing not to vape is one of the smartest decisions you can make.
Let's start with the most pressing concern, your health. While vaping is often marketed as a safer alternative to smoking, research shows that it carries serious health risks of its own. E-cigarettes contain nicotine, which is not only highly addictive, but also affects brain development in younger people. According to CDC, nicotine exposure during adolescence can harm the parts of the brain that control attention, learning, mood, and impulse control. That's not it. Many vape liquids contain harmful chemicals like dicetyl, a flavoring agent linked to serious lung condition called popcorn lung. And let's not forget the alarming cases of EVALI, e-cigarette or vaping use associated lung injury, which have led to thousands of hospitalizations and deaths. Just because a vape doesn't smell like a cigarette doesn't mean it's safe.
In closing, vaping is not the harmless trend it's made out to be. It's a health risk, a pathway to addiction, and a mental health burden, especially for young people. It's time we see vaping for what it really is, a new disguise for an old addiction. Thank you.
I like that. Okay. All right, in the last group, Gabriel and Say.
Say, go
Yes.
ahead.
Please say.
Yes.
Okay.
Recycling conserves valuable resources and reduces landfill waste. Example, recycling 1 ton of paper saves 17 trees and enough energy to power a home for 6 months. Currently, only about 30% of waste in the US is recycled, leading to unnecessary pollution and resource. Waste this is harming our environment and future generations. Every day, millions of tons of people waste fill up of landfills, polluting our planet.
Recycling is simple. Many cities offer curbside pickup, and local stores have drop-off bins. It's an easy way for all of us to contribute to a cleaner planet. Imagine a cleaner planet with fewer landfills and more preserved resources. By recycling, we can create that world. Start recycling today. Take a moment to separate your recyclables. It's a small change with a huge impact.
I'll change with a huge and I like that too. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna put the video up, and again, you're gonna have to go through and evaluate the speeches on it. I'm just gonna give some overall comments and then I'll put you back in the group again. So let me put up and share. Okay. Okay. Motivated sequence. Attention getting. Showing the need. Everybody did both of those very good. Provide a solution. Enhance the solution by visualizing the benefits, which you did that pretty effectively, most people. And urge action for a solution. Okay. Those are the 5 points you need to make certain you're hitting when you are trying to deliver Monroe's motivated sequence. So when you are discussing your thoughts on the speeches, make sure you address those 5 things, okay? All right, any questions about persuasion? It's the hardest type of speech to give, a persuasive speech. Okay, so I'm gonna put you in your group. Oh, sorry. Just a couple of more comments. Now remember, all the speeches need to make certain that in your introduction, you have your attention getter, reveal, relate, central idea, establish the credibility and goodwill, and then preview your points. The introduction needs to have all of that in it. Okay. Your conclusion needs to have those three parts as well, which most of you already have that down very well. I didn't hear a whole lot of establishing credibility in the speeches today. So just remember that is key. The endings were very good. I did like your closing remarks this time. So you guys are getting better with that. And tying it back to the introduction. Good job with that. And that's good. You guys are really catching on here. Okay, so I'm gonna put you in your old group that you did for your science night or science day, because it's in the day. Those. Four. We have 4 groups. Number 1 is Alejandro, Casey, Astro, out, and
Me, Braylon.
group 1? Oh, yep.
We were group 4, I think.
Sorry. Right. So wait a minute. The mini informative. Right. So that was number 1 was Andrew, Gabby, Miles, and Satchel. That was group 1. Group 2 was Devin, Jasmine, Samantha, and Say. Group 3. Alejandro, Braylon, and Kaylee. And Casey. Alexandra. I'm gonna put you in group 3.
Okay.
And Satchel, I didn't put you in a group. You're in group 1. Okay, let me see. Yeah, he's there. Casey. And Alexandra. Okay.
I just spoke to Commissioner Hazard about the Carteret event next weekend, and that's actually not what I'm calling you about. I'm calling because I actually still haven't received my check from the Rubber Chief event a couple weeks ago. So Commissioner Hazard, he told me to send him an email. I'm about to send him an email, but I just wanted to call you and let you know ahead of time before I sent it tonight. Whenever you get a chance. Thank you.
I'm just gonna go like as abandoned. It's just something. Jeremy. We're all back. All right, group 1, Andrew, Gabby, Miles, and Zach. We're ready when you are.
Okay. Each year, the transportation industry emits large amounts of CO2 into the environment. International shipping and aviation account for over 10% of worldwide CO2 emissions, while vehicles, trains, and aircrafts accounted for more than a quarter of the European carbon dioxide emissions in 2019. The more greenhouse gases that people and businesses emit into the atmosphere, the more severe the consequences of climate change will be. One strategy to minimize CO2 emissions from automobiles is to lessen their dependency on fossil fuels. The automobile industry is producing more electric and hybrid vehicles with improved fuel economy, although they are now more expensive than traditional gas guzzling machines. That's why there are still many other ways that scientists are improving to lessen the emissions of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere.
One of the most prominent findings from the study came from a solid called soda lime, also known as calcium hydroxide. The scientists discovered that soda lime could capture large amounts of CO2, especially from a temperature range of 80 to 100 degrees Celsius, which is close to the temperature of a car exhaust. In fact, just 1 kilogram of soda lime was able to absorb as much CO2 as you produce by burning 13 gallons of gasoline. That's a huge impact from a small amount of material. The secret? Soda lime contains about 15% water. That moisture helps the CO2 stick to the solid, but if the temperature gets too high, the water will evaporate and the material becomes much less effective.
Another method of you to put in the car exhaust systems is lithium hydroxide, which also absorbs CO2. It's actually non-toxic and has a relatively lower cost than the sodium. However, it does capture less CO2 and only works at lower temperatures. So the other method is actually better than lithium hydroxide, unless you want to pay less for a less effective version to trap your CO2.
In conclusion, capturing CO2 directly from car exhaust using solid sorbents like soda lime could be a promising step in reducing emissions from transportation. While there are still technical hurdles to overcome, this research opens the door to more practical and affordable carbon capture systems, especially for vehicles that still rely on fossil fuels. As we fight climate change, these kinds of innovations will be essential to creating a cleaner future.
Okay. Oh, Andrew, thank you for the claps. We loved it. And everybody else, you could feel free clap too. All right, group 2. Devin, Jasmine, Samantha, and Say.
We're good to start. Okay. Have you ever wondered how animals like dogs can detect scents with such precision far beyond human capabilities? Nowadays, scientists are taking a cue from nature in a fascinating new development. Researchers have designed an artificial intelligence system that mimics the way mammals smell. This breakthrough doesn't just copy biology, it actually outperforms previous scent recognition and opens the doors for powerful real-world applications, from diagnosing diseases to detecting dangerous chemicals.
First, let's talk about how this new artificial intelligence program outperforms previous scent recognition AIs. According to an article by writer Maria Temming titled "An AI That Mimics How Mammals Smell Recognizes Scents Better Than Other AI," this AI's artificial neural network, which is composed of chemical sensors that mimic the scent processing nerve cells in mammals, more closely resembles the neural circuitry or brain map of the mammalian brain than other designs. It can detect faint signals amidst background noises. And more importantly, continuously learns on the job and will remember new scents without forgetting them.
This AI is extremely beneficial, especially in medical fields, areas of food safety, and environmental monitoring. In healthcare, the AI's enhanced smell recognition can lead to improvement in diagnostics. For food safety, it can identify contaminations by recognizing harmful odors and making it safer for food consumption. This AI capability also extends beyond to air quality monitoring, where it can detect pollutions and hazardous substances, contributing to a better environmental management and public health.
This groundbreaking AI system not only mirrors nature's brilliance, but also pushes the boundaries of what technology can achieve by harnessing the extraordinary capabilities of scent detection. We are stepping into a future where AI is becoming more advanced.
Okay. All right. Do group 3 and then I'll just give some general comments. But you'll get more specific comments later. All right, the last group is Alejandro, Braylon, Casey, and Alexandra.
Who would have ever thought that one day computers would have a mind of their own? Today, we will explain the 3 different types of artificial intelligence. As a person who uses AI every day, whether it's Google or GPS, AI has become an integrated part of my life. AI, also known as the 5th generation of computers, is a technology that gives human-like thinking capabilities to computers. It includes advanced machine learning and deep learning techniques such as narrow AI, general AI, and super AI. Let's first look at narrow AI.
Narrow AI, also known as weak AI, is the most basic type of AI. Some examples of narrow AI are virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant. These virtual assistants can perform simple tasks such as setting reminders, playing music, or provide weather updates, therefore making this AI very limited to use. Weak AI is the only type of AI that a majority of people have access to. But AI isn't just limited to doing simple tasks. That brings us to the second type of AI, which aims to be as smart and capable as a human being: general artificial intelligence.
AGI, artificial general intelligence, would be to learn, perceive, comprehend, and function just like a human being. AGI is practically what a human can do. ASI is a hypothetical AI. We can only think about ASI after AGI. Super AI is where machines surpass the capacity of human intelligence and cognitive abilities. Once we unlock ASI, machines will have a heightened level of productivity and capabilities, and we will be able to think in a manner that is simply impossible for humans to comprehend. Our devices and problem-solving capabilities will look inferior in front of a super AI.
In conclusion, artificial intelligence provides us with many techniques such as narrow AI, general AI, and super AI that helps us in our everyday lives. Narrow AI is designated to perform a certain task, general AI is used to process human-like intelligence, and super AI is a hypothetical form of AI that surpasses human intelligence in all aspects. Some things we see AI used in are navigation, social media, voice assistants, etc. Humans use AI every day without noticing that they do.
Okay. I'm going to get a big clap for this group. Okay. See. Okay. Okay, you all did it in the timeline. Just again, overall brief comments. Some of you did, the last group, you did very good with those connectives. I recall, and I'm not sure if it was this speech or the last speech, but it was Say was the speaker. And he said, not only does it do whatever, it also does something else, right? And to me, and then he went into explaining it. That is a good connective. And then you can restate that sentence again, but leave out the not only that part and just say the rest of what you're going to talk about. Okay? Repetition is key in all speeches. So even though your connective may be your main point is restating some of that connective, that's okay. Okay, you want to do that. You want to purposely include repetition as well. Use the same pattern of wording in your main points if you can. All speeches don't fit nicely that way, but when you can, try to do that. It's very important. Okay. Closing remarks. Again, you guys are getting better with that. Introductions are pretty good. Be mindful to have all parts. Okay, all sections really, because the parts are the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Then there's sections within each. So make certain that you have all of the parts in your speech. Well, overall, that was a good job. I did want to make a recommendation for your persuasive speeches in person. Don't wear a hat, okay? And the reason why is because we can't always see your eye contact. Now, I'm looking now, Miles, I can see your eye contact clear, okay? Because you have your hat a little bit back. But Gabriella, your hat is kind of down some, so you're shadowed and you can't see as well your face. So it kind of does become a distraction for the audience. So we want to make sure we can see your face and we don't focus on your hat or the writing on your hat and stuff like that, because it could distract your audience away from your message. And we don't want to do that at all. We want to keep them in line. What else? That basically was it for general comments. And I think you all can see how you are improving with your speaking. Some of you still shy about that camera and you give us quick looks, but try to be mindful to look into that camera and let your audience know you see them. They're there. All right, any questions at all? We're actually early today. Stay afterwards and we'll talk about it. Any other questions at all? Okay. Very good. So I will post this class, and so you'll do both the mini informative evaluation as well as the persuasive. It's all in the same video. Okay, I'll leave the other one up, but I don't want anybody to come and say, Professor, it's not there, because it's not there. Everything is here for your evaluations on those two speeches. Okay. All right, no further questions.
The evaluation for the informative is actually due tonight. Can you extend that? Like
extend that. I'll extend that till next Wednesday. Okay, you got till next, when you come to class, you should have it done by the time you come to class next week. Okay, next week, It's actually our last class before the last day of class. So it's the second to the last class next week. So next week, bring all of your materials for your persuasive group speech, and I'm going to put you in your groups and you guys can practice, change things, whatever you want to do next week. We're going to focus mainly on working together with your speech. Don't worry about anything for special occasion because we've already covered that. So we're not going to go back on that. That's the first speech you gave in with me was your special occasion speech. And there is an exercise in there where they ask you to review a speech before you come to class, and we'll talk about it. You don't have to do that one. Okay, we're going to skip that one. Any questions at all?
I just had a comment. The prep outline isn't posted for us to submit for our group projects, group speeches.
Preparation outline?
Yeah, it's not in week 9 or 8.
Okay, let's see. One, get out of the way. This speech preparation outline template, persuasive speech, is that what you're talking about, Casey?
Not the template, like the actual submission to submit our outline.
This one?
Yeah.
Persuasive speech preparation outline?
No, it's the team persuasion one. So I guess, yeah, that's that, but I'm not seeing it on our side.
You don't see this?
I don't see it either in the calendar.
Okay, so now remember I told you.
Or
you
in the
need
week.
to go to the.
Yeah, it's not in the week or the calendar. It's nowhere to be found.
That it will be in mine and it's not in yours, and it's open, visible to you. The only way that could happen is if it's not visible, but it says it's visible to you. Visible to students, 3 groups. Let me see. Okay, you can't see it. I will find out why you can't see it. It's probably something in the settings. It didn't come over. Okay, I will check that out for you, Casey. Why, well, for the class to see why it's not shown in student view.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question about our other group members who do not participate.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to tell you about that. Okay, so, in your group, Devin, Christian dropped out. Jerry did say that he spoke with you. Is that correct? Okay. He did tell me that he talked to you. Now, group 1, Waldev says he's not going to participate. Okay.
That's
so we
crazy.
can't force him. So you forget about Waldorf. He's not going to participate.
But he signed the
And-
syllabus.
Say again. He did. He did.
He's also doing the coursework for the class.
Like, that's crazy.
That's
Wait, I have a question actually.
what happens sometimes. It's not good, but you guys already went on without him. That's why I told you go on without the person.
Yeah, I have a question.
Carla,
Wait, 1
what
second.
wait, okay.
No,
Carla
the syllabus and stuff.
is still enrolled in the class, but we haven't seen much of Carla. She's come a couple of times.
Mhm.
So forget about Carla as well,
Okay.
because we can't hold the group back for other people that don't want to do the right thing.
Can we get
So-
extra credit then? Because it's a 4-person assignment. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit.
We'll see.
We're doing double the
and
work.
Braylon
I like that
don't need
idea.
extra credit. You guys know this stuff. You're good. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. That was the only people that everybody else is good with your groups, right? With your persuasive group, everybody else good? Okay. Okay. That's it for today. Did we actually wait? Have a great week, guys. Gals.
Wait, actually, I did have a question.
Okay.
There's a couple of assignments that say like they were due already from weeks like 5 and like before.
And
They're due, like,
before,
yeah, they're
and
due like
before.
March 31st and stuff. Like they're all good.
Yeah,
I can
don't
still turn
worry
them in.
about it. You can do that. They'll be open. And if it's not open, just send me an email and I'll open it for you.
All right, thank you.
If you can't get in. But that's open until the end of classes.
All right, it still says late, but it's not late.
No.
All right, thank you.
Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, I have a question.
What's up, Say? You couldn't help yourself, could you? You had to say something.
Yeah, question. Is the syllabus like graded already? The syllabus, is it graded and stuff?
It's the syllabus graded.
Yeah.
You mean the scavenger hunt assignment? Because you don't grade the syllabus.
Yeah,
Are you talking about the scavenger hunt?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Well, I did grade everybody's already. So if yours wasn't in there when I graded them, then I'll have to come back to it.
The last
Because
day
I
of
did
class,
grade them all already.
last day of class is the end of April, right? The last day of class.
The last day in class is April 30th. That's when you give your persuasive speech as a group.
But when are the grades due though? When are the grades due?
I think the grades are due the 12th.
Of May.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
I'm not sure when they actually come out, but I think that's when they're due.
Yeah, I turned in some assignments late and stuff. I turned in some assignments late already. My
Say again, I didn't understand you. I didn't understand what you said.
I said I turned some of my assignments late and stuff because my sons were on my blackboard and stuff. I already turned in some of my assignments like late and stuff.
I didn't hear the question.
Oh yeah. I said I turned in some of my assignments late already. because my son's on my Blackboard. I already trying to set up my assignments like late and stuff.
Okay, well, I'll have to go back to that. So
Could
don't.
I question? Could late assignments still be like graded and stuff? Could like late assignments still be graded and stuff?
Yeah, I'm graded.
Oh yeah, I have a question. Could I share my screen with you for a
If
second?
it's the stuff that was from before, if it's the stuff that I told you, you could wait and come back to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Question. Like, so can I share my screen with you again?